Hello everybody, this is Mr. Schwartz. I'm back with another video. This week is not a how to draw video. I'm not going to be teaching you how to draw this guy here, this big scary orc man thing. I actually just have him here just to give my hand something to do because I'm actually going to try something a little bit different this week. I'm going to just spend this time and discuss something with you regarding art. And we'll see if people enjoy this sort of thing, just hearing me talk about art, and at the end I'll be talking some more about what I might want to do to make this a series. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below after this little video is done, and let me know what you think. So what I wanted to do today was just come to you and talk briefly about something that has arisen in many of my art classes, and something that I think does trouble a lot of people who just want to try and be good artists, especially those who are just starting out. And that thing is, what is good art? I mean, what exactly constitutes art to be good? I mean, that may seem like a simple question, but when you think about it, especially when it's your own content that you're trying to make, how do you know if your artwork is good? Now, for a lot of people, what they'll do is, especially when you're just first starting out, this is very common, but many times beginning artists, or really any artists who have a lot of circles of friends or family members, they'll talk about how they believe that art is only good if they get validation from someone else, to have someone else say that their artwork is good. They believe that otherwise, if someone else doesn't say their artwork is good, then it can't really be all that good. I think that's an idea that perpetuates not only art, but many other aspects of life too, where we constantly want to try and seek validation that what we're doing is right or good or correct or things of that sort. And while of course there is nothing wrong with seeking validation for something that you like, it can lead to, if someone doesn't like what you're doing, and even if it's just one person out of tons of people who say that what you're doing is good, it can still lead you to be very disappointed in yourself, and maybe, and in some extreme cases, even give up, just because of that one person saying something negative to you. So while I do believe that seeking validation for your art is not a bad thing, it's a fairly commonplace thing. In fact, for a long time, that's all I did, where I constantly believed that unless someone else said that my work was good, then it really wasn't good, no matter how I felt about it. And in fact, that's also why for the longest time, all I would do would be pieces all about photorealism. I was all about the photorealism for an extremely long time. And I still am to some degree today. But I would do that because that was all that my family would think would be really good. Stuff like this, they would say would be all right, but they don't have really any attachments to sort of orc creatures. So I would do photorealism, attempting to basically please them. And when you start doing work almost exclusively just to please people, then something is going wrong there. Excuse me. So, because working only to achieve recognition, even if it's just recognition from your family or from your friends, or even from maybe even your art teachers or your art professors or things of that sort, then working just on content in order to appease someone will lead to you making artwork that basically doesn't have any real passion to it, no real soul. You'll be able to tell that what kind of work is done by people who are truly passionate about what they're doing, and what kind of work is only done by people who are just trying to please the crowd or please other people instead of working on what they truly want. So here's just a little quote that I like to give out to my students if they're ever confronted with that sort of reality and they can start getting despairing about it. Good art is not simply what everyone else likes. Good art has to be what you yourself enjoy. And I believe that quote really does make a lot of sense, and you can apply it to things other than art, obviously, but I'm going to be just talking exclusively about art. And basically it means that in order for you to really have the best kind of content you can possibly create, you have to do what it is that you truly feel inspired to do. You can't always do just what everyone else thinks you should do, or what you think everyone else will enjoy you seeing. You have to create content that you truly feel passionate about bringing to life. And I believe that's something that I stress that in my classrooms when I'm teaching, is that I always want them to try and focus more on creating content that they can truly feel happy about creating, and not just simply trying to do something just because it would make me personally happy to see them do it. When it comes to the projects I give out, I try as much as possible to leave it fairly open-ended so they can take it and interpret it into their own unique ways, and so that I can try and get some of their own creativity into those projects. I don't always succeed. Sometimes I always admit that I can be better. But I do think that that is an extremely important aspect of art, is creating content that you truly feel passionate about and that you would truly enjoy bringing to life. So then that leads me into then another quote that I came up with these past couple of years that I've been teaching. And I really wish that when I was younger that I would have had someone say this to me. And the quote is this: there are two types of art that every artist makes. There's art that you believe is good, and then there's art that helps you grow as an artist. So what does that mean? Well, what I'm basically trying to say there is that what you should really never do as much as possible is believe that the art you make is bad. That's a very toxic way of thinking. And it's the reason that I came to that conclusion is because that's how I thought for an extremely, extremely long time. I truly believed that the majority of my content, about 99% of it, was garbage, was terrible, was not even worth showing to anybody. It's true what they say in art, you are your own worst critic. And for a long time, I was the worst possible critic that anyone could ever hope to have. I almost never let myself see the positive aspects of my artwork. I would always compare it to other people's. I would always just zero in on the things I did wrong. Never once did I allow myself really to think about, hey, maybe I did do something well here. Maybe something I did in here is good. So then, that leads into the idea of, well, then what is good art? In terms of the content that you create, how do you know if something you make is good? Well, here's my ideas, and I would love to hear your ideas as well on anything that I've been saying. I'd love to hear your comments and things of that sort in the comment section below as to what you believe about the things I've been saying. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? And just let me know either way. But when it comes to evaluating if an art piece is good, again, this is one thing that I would say you have to try and figure out on your own first. You can of course show other people your artwork. That's one of the best things about art. But if you show them your artwork with the intention of seeking validation from them, then that's again a toxic way of thinking. What you should do instead is decide for yourself how you feel about your artwork before you present it to those around you. So how do you know if your artwork is good? Well, here's what I believe. I believe that to call a piece of artwork good, that must be when the artist sees their vision for the piece come to life, oftentimes in ways we never expect. I think many artists could be able to relate to this sentiment where a lot of the times what we end up creating, most of the time, doesn't look exactly like how we had envisioned it to be. Sometimes it looks better, sometimes we don't think it looks as good. But regardless, you should be able to look at that piece and say, you know, in some capacity, what I wanted to do was accomplished here. Maybe not how I would have expected it to, but in some small fashion, I did succeed with this piece. So then, also, what I believe to be good art is when the piece starts to take on more and more dimension with each new line drawn or painted stroke enters into the piece. When I first started drawing this orc right here, There were many occasions where I didn't think I wanted to finish this because it wasn't turning out like I wanted it to. But I kept pushing forward, and gradually, as I placed in more and more of the lines and the features of the face, I started to see a lot of his character begin to emerge, just in the way that he snarled, or the way I angled the eyebrows, or the way that I drew all of these creases into his skin. Each time I created a new line, I gave this creature a little bit more character and a little bit more personality to it. So that's what I also believe can constitute good art, is when you watch it take form and arise above what you could have expected from it. And the last thing that I believe, just of the three things that I could think of, what also creates good art is it's when you can look at what you've made and have some feeling of satisfaction that you accomplished what you wanted to with this piece. If you're able to look at that piece and say in any capacity whatsoever, yes, I did do what I wanted to achieve with this piece, then I believe that artwork can be good. Now, of course, on all those three of those things, there are varying degrees of it. There can be times where you believe that you totally accomplished exactly everything you wanted to do, and your piece turned out better than you could ever have imagined it to be, and you could not be happier with what you've accomplished. There can also be times where you create a piece and you look at it and you believe it to be an absolute and utter total piece of garbage. That you have no idea what you were doing, you don't know where it went wrong, you just know that you really hate what happened. But even then, you can still look at that and say, well, there is that one thing that I did that was good. So, that's what I was talking about earlier. The two types of art are the art that you believe is good and the art that helps you grow. So even when you have that piece that just turned out the worst you could possibly imagine it, and you cannot see how you could have done even any worse on it at all, you can still look at it and say, well, let's think about this for a second. I believe that this piece is completely, totally awful. Why? What about it does not work for me? What could I improve upon were I to tackle this piece again? So that's how artwork that you believe is not good can help you grow, can help you expand. By taking a look at them, taking a close look at them and analyzing what you think went wrong, then you can learn from that, adjust your style, and move on to the next piece, taking that information into account. I believe that that's a much healthier way of dealing with pieces that you believe that you completely failed at. Instead of looking at it and saying, I'm the worst artist in the world, I should just throw down my pen right now and not even work anymore. What I would encourage you to try instead is to look at the piece and say, what did I do wrong? Let me think about that. And the more you think about it, the more you'll realize things that you could have done better, and you will adjust that for later on. So in the end, that's actually all that I've got for in this first episode of a possible new series. What I would like to do now is extend this proposition to all of you, my viewers. Not only would I like to hear your thoughts on what you believe makes an art piece good, if you agree with me, if you don't agree with me, just let me know. I would also like to hear possible questions or ideas or topics for a future episode of this. If you'd like to hear my thoughts on a particular subject that you've been thinking about, or if you would like me to answer a question that you have about anything art related, or even more, if you want to suggest a topic for all of us to contribute to and talk about, and I could compile all those together and do something like what Mark Crilly does. In fact, that's where I got the idea for this little series, was from Mark Crilly's Q&A videos. So yes, I am aping off of Mark Crilly, but he is one of the best artists I've ever seen, and we all know that you have to start off somewhere with this stuff. You gotta start off by aping the work of others and then gradually evolving into your own. So I thank anyone who has decided to watch this. I thank you for watching this and supporting me. Please leave a comment in the comment section below, or you can send any ideas or comments or questions to me at my email address for this YouTube channel, which is mrschwartzart@outlook.com. You can feel free to send things there that you may not feel comfortable comfortable posting in the comment section below. And I look forward to hearing your thoughts on this subject, and we'll see if you want this to be a continuous occasional series or not, or if you want me to stop inking things and talking about things and get back to the drawing videos. Either way, just feel free to let me know, and I would love to hear your thoughts on the matter. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate every single person who wants to watch these things. This has been Mr. Schwartz with another episode of Mr. Schwartz's Art Hour, and I will see you all next time. Have yourselves a great day.